Hello, we are live. It's Bill, the Knee Pain Guru. Today is Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022. We are, let's see, we're going to get a few things together here. If you have questions and you would like, about your knees, knee pain, doctor's diagnosis, physical therapy, exercise, whatever it is regarding your knees, knee pain, please enter those in the live chat. If you are watching the replay, you can enter those in the comments section. I will address those as I receive them. We use, let's see, today we're going to talk about cartilage regeneration through taking pressure off of the knees. Okay. Question is from Lukas Janik. How can I take the pressure off of my knee to create that space that my body can regenerate its cartilage? It's a great question. And in order to answer the question, we have to look at an understanding of the body differently. We have to understand the concept of what is known as tensegrity structure. A tensegrity structure is like a bicycle wheel, a geodesic dome. It's an interconnected series of pulleys and levers. Matter of fact, you know what we could do? We can get some pictures of Tensegrity structure of the knee. This is a good one. Okay, got some images here. I'm going to share the images, and this is really great in terms of understanding what we're looking at when the joint collapses and arthritis begins to set in, dehydrate the joint, and the cartilage begins to wear in the knee. So I'm going to share the screen here. Let's see. Share screen. Tensegrity structure of the knee. So here is a great example of the tensegrity structure of the knee. It may be a little small. Let's see if I can increase the size of this a little bit. Maybe not. Let's go and see if we can find one. No. Here we go. Here's the tensegrity structure of the leg. That's a little bit better. Let's see. Okay. The concept of tensegrity structure is important to understand. Let's see. Let's get back to the image. The concept of tensegrity structure is important to understand that the body is a series of pulleys and levers that create a balance of tension in order for it to function, in order for it to operate. When there is too much tension in one area of the knee, the leg, the body, and not enough tension in a certain area of the knee, the leg, the body, you create an imbalance of tension. This causes the structure of the knee, the leg, the body to collapse, the tensegrity structure. And when that collapses, the joint begins to collapse on itself, and that causes the squeezing of the joint, the dehydration of the joint, and then the wearing of the joint, because the joint needs a certain amount of lubrication in order to function properly. When we begin to create comfort in an area of the tensegrity structure, I'm going to stop the screen share right now. When we begin to reestablish comfort in an area of the knee, the body begins to reestablish the tensegrity structure. So if the knee hurts in a certain area, so we would look at, Lukas Janik. He was taking, how can I take the pressure off of the knee to create the space that my body can regenerate its cartilage? So your body wants to default to healing. Your body wants to have the resources available it needs to heal what's going on in the knee. But if we have this imbalance in the tensegrity structure of the knee, in the leg, in the body, then what ends up happening is no matter how many herbs, how many supplements you take, how you change your diet, the structure is still collapsed, and we're going to have difficulty. The body's going to have difficulty regenerating what's going on in the knee, heal the body, if it has the resources, but the structure isn't balanced in a way that the space is in the knee joint for the joint to be healed. So what we need to begin doing is creating comfort in the knee. When we create comfort in the knee, it starts this chain reaction in the neurology, meaning your nervous system, your brain, your spinal column, the nerves that go to every cell in your body. When we create comfort in the knee joint by finding the position of comfort in the intrinsic movement of the joint. Intrinsic movement, we have gross motor movement of the knee, we bend and extend. Intrinsic movement is slight twisting, slight apart and together, slight tilting, slight side to side, as well as forward and back movement of the knee joint. This is what squeezes on the nerves in the knee. This is when the joint has collapsed. The tensegrity structure of the knee joint has collapsed. When it collapses that way, then the rubbing, the dehydration, the irritation, and the pain happens. By creating comfort, we begin to reverse that process. The nervous system, when we get the pressure off of that intrinsic movement of what's going on in the knee joint, the nervous system begins to reorganize around the comfort that we're creating in the knee. When that comfort and that reorganization begins to take place, you gain more awareness and understanding of how this tension of how the knee joint is collapsed is relating to your hamstrings, your quads, your shins, your calves, your ankles, your feet, your hips, your lower back, all around the body. The more we increase the awareness and deepen the understanding of the tension pattern that has been established as a result of the joint collapsing, it sets up the conditions that the body can heal itself. It's getting the pressure off of those nerves, and now changing the diet, drinking more water, taking supplements, all of those other things, which could even include stem cell injections, prolotherapy, all of those other things that the medical model brings to the table can now be way more effective in getting the knee joint to heal. Got some questions here. I'm going to check on those. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications for future videos as I use the questions that are posed here to create the future videos that we talk about. Okay, Vince O'Brien said, this is my problem, meniscus tear and snipped, now bone to bone. And Vince, that consequently, that's what happens. I've had a similar situation as far as I tore the ligament in my left knee. They took out 2 pieces of meniscus. That was in 1999. When we understand the body from the concept of tensegrity structure, we can begin to change the neurological signaling in the knee to understand what comfort is. The bone-on-bone situation is nothing more than a joint that's collapsed that has continued to wear to a point of being bone-on-bone. Depending, like, we want to make sure that the tendons and ligaments are still intact in the knee, because a mechanically sound knee is going to be different than a knee that is bone on bone, that because of the wearing in the bone, it is severed tendons and or ligaments in the knee joint that makes the knee even more unstable. I had a gentleman who I spoke with, 80 some years old. I think he was 88 at the time I spoke with him, and his knee was collapsing because the ligaments had been severed as a result of the length of time that he had been bone on bone. So we want to make sure we address that first. We're clear on what we're dealing with in the beginning so we can develop a really solid strategy in terms of moving forward with what you have going on with your knee. Okay, Vince, 10 years later, now left is really hurting. And this, consequently, this is a whole concept of tensegrity structure, is when something collapses, the body tenses up to protect itself from an accident, an injury, a surgery, a trauma. The body compensates. The tensegrity structure compensates. So now what was ever going on in your left or right knee hurts on that side, then the body shifts away from that. And now the other foot and ankle, knee, hip has to compensate for what's going on in the bad knee or the injured knee. That's what the body does. It moves away from pain to a position of comfort until the good knee, something goes on with the good knee that makes it hurt more than the bad knee. And then it shifts back and forth. And this adds up over time. This is what they call old age, or that's just what happens when you get older. And with an outdated, outmoded understanding of how the body works, yes, that's what happens. You're down that road where the joint continues to wear more, the arthritis gets worse, you're bone on bone, and then you're a perfect candidate for a knee replacement surgery. What if we understand the body on a neurological level? If we come at it from understanding how the nervous system is playing a role in this bigger equation, we can begin to create comfort in the knee, reestablish the tension in the joint, reestablish the tension in the body, the balance of tension in the body, and now the body moves easier, you feel younger, it recovers faster, and life is better all the way around. So, okay, now we got Vince has, right? Any twisting, like swinging a bat, seems to create a Baker's cyst or leaves a huge swelling in the back of the knee and complete destabilization of the knee. Right. And that's when we're going back to the tensegrity structure. When it's compromised, it compromises the entire tensegrity structure, just like a bicycle wheel. If you have too much tension in some spokes and not enough tension in other spokes, it takes the wheel out of true. It makes it imbalanced. And the wheel is more likely to bend. The tire will wear unevenly. It won't ride that well. It won't ride that smooth. It'll be a big struggle for the rim to turn. The more we can bring the spokes back into balance, creating an even balance of tension in the bicycle wheel tensegrity structure analogy, the bicycle is going to go much easier with a lot less effort. And that's the same thing we're doing in the physical body by creating comfort in the areas of the knee, of the leg, of the body that cause the pain. So looking at what's going on in that knee, looking at the relationship of the bone in your upper leg with the bones in the lower leg that are pushing in a certain way to develop the Baker's cyst with the swinging of the bat. The destabilization of the knee, we definitely want to make sure from a doctor's diagnosis that the tendons and ligaments are intact in the knee. And that's a simple Lockman's test, Lachman test that you can check with chiropractors and physical therapists. They know how to do Lockman's tests, and you would want to make sure you had someone that's exceptionally skilled in doing a Lockman's test. But that is a test of pushing and testing to see if the ligaments are intact in the knee. But once we establish that the ligaments are intact in the knee, then everything else can fall into place as far as that goes. Okay, Vince continues to write. Now right, not left. Left is bone on bone. Got it. And it doesn't matter which knee we're talking about. Creating comfort in the knee, setting up the conditions so the body is able to heal what's going on in the knee is what we're focusing on. For those that are live on the line, make sure to give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications for future videos. If you have questions, please type those in the live chat. I will address those. Vince has a few more here. Okay, question here. What about stem cell regeneration of meniscus like the doctor in LA says they can do? I do believe that cartilage and meniscus, the body has the infinite capacity to heal itself if given the right conditions to do so. There is a tremendous amount we can do, or that the medical model brings to the table in order to regenerate cartilage and meniscus based on the tensegrity structure of the body being in balance. This is where I think there's a disconnect in the understanding of what the capacity of the conventional medical model can do without a thorough understanding of how to bring the balance back into the physical body. So everything we're doing on the Western medical model side can be optimized with a deeper understanding of the neurological capacity of the body to heal itself, if that makes sense. So what we want to do is we want to take the technologies that are out there, the stem cell injections, there's prolotherapy, there's rooster comb injections, there's hyaluronic acid injections, there's cortisone injections that the medical model offers that I think are absolutely phenomenal in the right context. And when we bring to the table the understanding of how that can support, when we get the tensegrity structure back into balance, just makes everybody happier because the medical model is doing what they do best. The more holistic approach, like what we're offering here with the Knee Pain Guru, that is brought to the table as well. And then you're getting the best of both worlds in that scenario. But we want to, like baking a cake, you want the right ingredients in the right order, in the right amounts, with the right timing. And when you get any of those things out of order or in the wrong amounts, you don't have a cake, you have a mess. So that's what we want to do when we're approaching what's going on in your knee. We want to have an understanding of everything that's on the table, which includes a doctor's diagnosis. Got to have that to know what we're dealing with, to make sure nothing's broken or torn. And it's not that we can't address it. We just want to know what we're dealing with because this is your knee. We want to know what's going on inside the knee so we can manage expectations and understanding of moving forward with a real solid strategy. Then once we get the diagnosis out of the way, we can map that out, know exactly how we can incorporate creating comfort and changing the neurological signaling in the knee in conjunction with the timing of a stem cell injection, prolotherapy, cortisone shots, stem cell or rooster comb injection, with like working with your doctor in this scenario. So we just want to bring everything up on the table. And then my question to you, Vince, and this is what I ask everyone with a situation with bone on bone. If you didn't have pain in the knee and you didn't have restriction in range of motion, would you even go to your doctor? It's a legit question, and it's not a slam on doctors. It is just the realization of creating like this understanding of the medical sovereignty that we have over our own bodies, that if a friend of mine in my life was saying, she said, health is a function of a lack of a diagnosis. It's a little bit of tongue in cheek. However, there's a reality to it that most of the time we go to a doctor when something is already too far gone. And if we employ that ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, or doing this maintenance on our physical body by understanding it on a deeper level, we can prevent the crisis of the situation with bone on bone, or having to stare down a knee replacement surgery or anything like that down the road. Okay, Vince, Lockman's test. Yes, Lachman apostrophe S test. That is the test that Dr. John Ellis did on my knee to determine that I had tore the ACL in my left knee, and they call it a Lockman's test. And it's a slight rotation. They generally support the back of your knee. They have your foot in their hand, and they do testing in, testing out, pulling forward, pushing back, and they see the play in the joint. And if the joint just goes whoop, whoop, that means there's no ligament in place in the certain plane of motion that they're testing. It's gone, essentially. Dr. Ellis never did an MRI on my knee. He goes, Bill, after he did the Lockman's test, he was the orthopedic surgeon for the University of Louisville sports teams. So all of the athletes for the University of Louisville were going to this guy, all the collegiate athletes. And I trusted his opinion. And he did the Lockman's test. He's like, yeah, Bill, we could do an MRI, but it'd be a waste of money. You tore your ACL. So I scheduled a surgery a month later. And when you have a skilled orthopedic surgeon that's looking at your knee, then you can shorten the time in getting to the direction you want to go. You can really cut down on a lot of time. Let's see. I agree with order and timing. Yeah, it makes a huge difference. I'm all about the Pareto principle, or Occam's razor, the minimum effective dose. The tiniest amount of input to get the biggest results in the shortest period of time. And it's just something. I've been doing this 15 years online now. So wait a minute, 2008. 14 years online. Okay, let's see what Vince says. No, I wouldn't if I could now jog or play basketball. Not a big doctor guy. I wish I never got snipped. Yeah, okay. Now, Vince, this is in defense of the medical model. Their ability, their technology that they have can really shorten the healing process. We have to understand both their strengths and their blind spots or their weaknesses. The meniscus, when the meniscus is torn, and this is for anybody who has a torn meniscus, that we want to know the location, the direction, and the degree of tear, because some meniscus tears can heal on their own. Some meniscus tears are never an issue again if we change the neurological signaling. Some meniscus tears, no matter what we do, will continue to get worse. We have to understand how, by the location of the meniscus tear and the degree of meniscus tear, that, for instance, I'll use myself. I kept pushing my knee, and I kept tearing the meniscus more. I kept tearing the ligament more. Eventually, I got to a place where there was no possible way I would be able to avoid surgery. The ligament, my ACL, was only attached 30% on one end. That means my body kept compensating and tearing, and compensating again and tearing, until the ligament was just flopping around in my knee. There was nothing for it attached to anymore. And I had 2 pieces of meniscus. That's because I didn't listen to myself. I should have went to the doctor earlier. And I possibly could have avoided the surgery or understood what was going on my knee differently and had a different course of action. So just because you have a meniscus surgery, getting it cut or repaired, doesn't make it a bad thing. We just need to understand the body better on how it can recover. So we just want to take a step back, get a bigger picture of the landscape of what you're dealing with, and then line things out. Because we can't go back. We just can't go back. You have a surgery. Once you have a surgery, that's it. But we have to be very present with what you're dealing with right now, and then move forward from there. And when we do the right ingredients in the right order, in the right amounts, with the right timing, the body just heals, and you'll be back doing what you want, jogging and playing basketball in no time, because we're doing exactly what your knee needs, your leg needs, your body needs at this point in time. If that information is making sense, give the video a thumbs up. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Knee Pain Guru YouTube channel. Turn on notifications for future videos. If you'd like to know, like, next steps, like, this stuff sounds good, I'd like more information, you can head on over to my website, thekneepainguru.com. You can get a complimentary membership right now to Knee Club Lite. That is a stripped down version of my group coaching program. I work Mondays and Thursdays with a group of Knee Club members with what's going on with their knees. You can get in Knee Club there, and you see how I interact with my members and how I work with them. I assign videos for homework that's going to help them improve what's going on in their knee today. There's a private Facebook group. If you can't make those calls, the times of the calls for whatever reason, you can type in your questions and I answer those. The calls are recorded and you can watch the replay. So that's what you could do going to my website. You can also give us a call on my toll-free number, 877-891-9484. All this information is in the description box below. You can check out. There's a number going across the screen right now, but it's also in the description box. And we'll be happy to jump on the phone with you, answer any preliminary questions. And then if you want to jump on a call with me or get in the Knee Club, you can absolutely do that. My goal when working with a client is that we help you the fastest, the quickest we can in the shortest amount of time. Being in knee pain is no joke. It affects how we move, how we feel, how we think. And the more we can begin to slow that process down and change the neurological signaling in the knee, change your neurological states, meaning like being frantic and wanting to get out of pain is a different neurological state than if we're calm and it's like we know exactly what to do to get the knee out of pain. And the more we can shift the neurological state in the mind, in the emotions, as well as in the physical body, we set up the conditions so the body is able to heal itself much quicker, much easier, with a fraction of the time, energy, and effort. This is not about how we could strengthen the muscles in the legs, how we can stretch the body. This is not about that at all. There's dozens and dozens, hundreds of physical therapists online that are teaching that. Trainers and things like that on how to strengthen the muscles in the legs and stretch the body. If it was that easy, then there wouldn't be that many people in knee pain. But unfortunately, that when body's in pain, when the knee's in pain, and it's been like that for an extended period of time, we have to come to the realization that that pain, that chronic pain we've been living with, is affecting our sleep, our mood, how we think. So how we think, we're going to choose things that isn't necessarily going to be the best for the knees and how to get it out of pain. And that's where I come in as a third-party objective observer of the patterns that you're sharing with me in your knee. Like Vince, when you said twisting, this question here, any twisting, like swinging a bat, seems to create a Baker's cyst. So my question to you, to understand the tension pattern that is displaying in the tensegrity structure that we talked about at the beginning of the video, is understanding, do you swing left or right? And which knee is swelling up that is displaying the Baker's cyst and is becoming destabilized? It could be both knees. It could be the right. It could be the left. Swinging, a righty swinging is going to be a completely different tension pattern than a lefty swinging. And we need to know this. We need to know how this goes into the patterns that are going on in your hips and lower back, that are going into your hamstrings and quads, that are going into your knee, that are going into your shins and calves and into your feet. Because a clockwise rotation that is causing the creation of the Baker's cyst and the huge swelling is going to be a completely different pattern than if it's counterclockwise. So this is much more in depth and focused based on what you're struggling with. If this is making sense, give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications for future videos. And that's what these videos are for. These videos are for changing your mindset on how the body heals. It's much too in depth to go into like, okay, do this to get your knee better. Because the moment I give you something, and that's how the pain pattern interrupts, how the pain pattern interrupts work is that it changes the neurology in the body. So as I give you a pain pattern interrupt to relieve the tension in your knee, the moment you do it, you're going to have an experience on the other side of that is going to make what's going on in the knee different. That's the dialogue we need to have. And that's much more in depth than a one-off. I'm going to do that. You're going to do this and your knee pain is going to completely go away. That's not the level that I work at. It's much deeper than that. And we have to have that dialogue as far as how is your knee, how's your diet affecting your knee? How's your water intake affecting your knee? How is exercise affecting your knee or lack of exercise? How is it affecting your sleep? How does it affect when you sit, when you stand, when you walk, when you squat? All of these are going to be different patterns in different people. Okay, let's see. Nexodus66 says like number 5. I'm not sure what number 5 is. What is number 5? And Babatunde said, very interesting topic. I'm glad you like it. I get bored easily, and this has been keeping me interested for the past 20 some years. Vince says, I guess I could have been the pitching batting practice righty. Yeah, so if you're swinging righty, then looking at how that tension pattern is as you swing to the right, the tension patterns are going to affect in the shoulders, in your arms, going down in your hips, coming from right to left, and how that's going to twist. So that's going to be a counterclockwise rotation in both of the knees. And, we just need to look more in depth as far as that goes. Yeah, sounds good. Fifth like. Oh, great. Thank you, Nexodus66. Appreciate that very much. If you have any questions about what's going on with your knee, you could just even post your diagnosis. We could kind of run with tension patterns, talk about tension patterns based on the diagnosis. And it's, like I said, it's going to be different. Going upstairs, going downstairs, left knee, right knee, when you're pushing off, when you're stepping forward, all of it's going to be different, and it's all going to show us a different tension pattern of what's going on in your knees and in your body. But this is the stuff I kind of geek out over. And I mean, it wasn't my intention when I blew out my knee that I'd be doing this, but it kind of dictated my path, because after I got done with the surgery and the physical therapy, this would have been, surgery was in June of 99. Physical therapy would have been done by the end of the summer. I still had swelling and pain in my knee. My hips and lower back were awful. I had difficulty sleeping, difficulty bending my knee. I was limping. Felt like I was 80-year-old man in my late 20s, and I was involved in judo. That was my main love, and all I wanted to do was get back out on the judo mat to throw people. But I had this knee that wasn't cooperating, and Dr. Ellis, he's like, the last checkup, because he gave me the green light, he goes, okay, well, this is as far as we could take you. You'll get one of those big Donjoy titanium braces, and you can go back to judo. And I was like, what? Like, come on. There's got to be something better than this big titanium brace, because it just felt awful. And then I couldn't really practice with one of those big titanium braces, at least with anybody else, because, that was like I could really hurt somebody with that coming into a throw or whatever that was. So I started on a journey to figure out, well, how can I relieve what was going on in my knee, how I can get my knee back to normal. So that would have been the fall of 99. And I studied a lot of different things to come up with, essentially, I was discovering the program that I've been talking about, that I share with my members in Knee Club. So it's taken me, was it 23, coming up on 23 years that I've been doing this, just figuring it out for myself. And it works. It works incredibly well. And the biggest challenge with new members is to change the mindset that it doesn't have to hurt to heal, that you got to push the knee for it to feel better, and that it takes a lot of effort. And once we get out of that mentality, that mindset that I got to push through the pain, no gain, pain is weakness leaving the body can actually heal much quicker. And it's backing off from that mentality that actually gets us more results in a shorter period of time. So getting people out of knee pain is actually quite easy. But if they're, and Vince, I'll use you as an example. You want to get your knee better, but you don't want to you don't want to stop playing softball while you're giving the body a chance to heal. I was guilty of this too. So don't think, Vince, don't think you're special. When the body heals in its own time, and it can heal faster if given the right conditions to do so. So what I would do is I would get out of pain, and the moment I would get out of pain, I'd be back out on the judo mat. and I get thrown on my head or something like that would happen again, I'd be back in pain again. I wouldn't give my body enough time for it to heal before I was putting it back into pain again. So we have to kind of gauge, recalibrate what it means to recover. Because if we have that mentality of push through the pain, no gain, pain is weakness leaving the body, then we give the body a glimpse of relief, but we don't give it a chance to make that normal, to make that baseline of comfort good. So if we put it back into pain again, we haven't established a baseline. So we're kind of like at the whim of pain and less pain, and pain, more pain and kind of less pain. We have to establish a baseline of relief, a baseline of like, oh, it's good. Like my knee's been good for a week and a half now. And then we start testing it. We start testing it systematically. And when we do something that puts it back into pain, having the skill and awareness and understanding of what to do to get the pain back to baseline again, get the body back to comfort again. So every time we're pushing the body, we're pushing its neurological capacity to still continue to be comfortable while pushing it out of its comfort zone. We create what is known as autonomic flexibility. The more flexibility we have from pushing it to recovering, the more capacity we have to do that, the faster the body's going to heal. But if we're constantly putting it into pain again, it changes the neurological response. The body goes into a sympathetic state, which is a fight or flight state, and it's in a maintenance mode. It's not healing. It's just like it's holding on. So that's what we need to back off and allow the body to recover. So Vince playing softball, if you could put it off for a few weeks or maybe a month, maybe a little longer, depending on how his body responds to creating comfort and changing the neurological signaling in the knee. If this is making sense, give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications for future videos, and we use those, what you type in, for commenting on future videos, subjects to talk on future videos. And so whatever questions you have, let's see what else. You want to take action. This information sounds good. Head on over to, well, you can call the number there at the bottom of the screen, the toll-free number, 877-891-9484. Set up a time to speak with one of our friendly team members. And you can also join and get a complimentary membership to Knee Club Lite to see how I work with members of Knee Club. You can go to the kneepainguru.com to sign up for that. There's no obligation for it. I'll send you emails until you unsubscribe. It's not a big deal. Ideally, I'd want you in Knee Club or potentially private coaching if that would be a fit for you. But the whole idea is to get your knee out of pain and you go live your life. I don't want you dependent on me for the rest of your life unless we're evolving and changing to deeper levels of awareness and understanding of how your neurology works. So the idea is to get you out of pain as quickly and as easily as possible. Okay, well, we've been on here almost 45 minutes now. I'm going to play a short video for you here at the end that you can check out. Once again, if you have questions and you're watching the replay, type those in the comments section, and I will check those out. We'll use them on future videos. I thank you all for being here. This is Bill Paravano, the Knee Pain Guru, wishing you a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow, and check out this video.